Sony highest Metacritic publisher in 2022, GDC Game Awards results, Redfall PS5 version cancelled after Microsoft acquisition, Analyst thinks Xbox exclusives are not enough, all that and more in today's PlayStation news. Let's get to them. Sony highest Metacritic publisher in 2022. Metacritic has revealed the top 10 publishers for 2022, where Sony Interactive Entertainment took first place, followed by Paradox Interactive and Activision Blizzard. The website broke down the math used for this, where they take the average Metascore for all games released in 2022, the percentage of good reviews, bad reviews, and the number of great titles above 90, resulting in SIE winning with 128 points, 6 clear from Paradox Interactive. SIE average Metascore was 85.6 with a lineup that included God of War Ragnarok, The Last of Us Part 1, Horizon Forbidden West, and Gran Turismo 7 for PS5, plus PC releases such as God of War 2018 and Spider-Man. Sony moves up one spot from 2021, where they were second to Xbox Game Studios. Rounding up the top 10 publishers for 2022 were Focus Entertainment, Take-Two Interactive, Capcom, Sega, Annapurna Interactive, Humble Games, and Devolver Digital. Congrats to Sony for such an amazing lineup last year. Do you agree with them winning Publisher of the Year? Sound off in the comments. GDC Game Awards results. The Game Developers Conference has been running all this week with some amazing Unreal Engine demos and the GDC Game Awards. While God of War Ragnarok helped Sony win Metacritic Publisher of the Year, it fell victim to Elden Ring in GDC's Game of the Year. Elden Ring not only won Game of the Year but Best Visual Art and Best Game Design. Sony Santa Monica did not leave empty-handed, with God of War taking Best Audio, Best Technology, and Audience Award. Other winners included Stray as Best Debut, Pentiment as Best Narrative, Citizen Sleeper as the Social Media Impact Award, and Immortality with the Innovation Award. The first female video game designer, the late Mabel Holmes, was recognized with the Pioneer Award, and ID Software co-founder and Doom creator John Romero was awarded the Lifetime Achievement. Congratulations to all the winners. Did your favorite game win? Let us know in the comments. Redfall PS5 version cancelled after Microsoft acquisition. Arcane Studio director Harvey Smith has confirmed in an interview with IGN France that a Redfall version for PS5 did exist since development started prior to the Bethesda-Microsoft merger, and it was cancelled post-acquisition. The translation was, and I quote, "We were acquired by Microsoft and it was a change with capital C. They came in and they said no PlayStation 5, we're focusing on Xbox, PC and Game Pass." Something Smith considered positive since they have one less platform to worry about and Game Pass has around 30 million users. In regards to Arcane and Redfall, it seems it was indeed positive for the developer. Their games have never set the world on fire in terms of sales, despite being critically acclaimed, and this allowed them to narrow the development focus. Deathloop, for example, reached 5 million users including PS5 sales and Game Pass, but that doesn't mean it sold 5 million. It's also not surprising the game was stocked for PS5 as well and was cancelled. Many games get cancelled behind the scenes that we never get to know. What's surprising to me is that Microsoft allowed this statement to be made while in a heated battle for the Activision acquisition, where they have made some contradicting comments. And I bet this is going to be brought up in the future. It feels like Microsoft is at clashes with itself, where their PR demonizes exclusives because it's better to have a game reach more people only when said game is not on their platform. But their business side knows there have to be exclusives. I don't have a problem with Redfall being exclusive or any future Microsoft game. Exclusives are a necessary evil in the industry, and it's what pushes customers to a given platform. It's certainly what Sony would have done if the roles were reversed. Microsoft said future Bethesda game releases were going to be explored on a case-by-case basis, and I wish they were clearer in their PR as to what that means instead of creating false expectations. But given the nature of the video game development industry and its constant secrecy, it's going to be hard, although this is a point the FTC has requested as part of the Activision case. If we take by example Minecraft, they have allowed Dungeons and Legends to be published on PlayStation platforms. There might be cases like this with Bethesda and even Activision if it happens. While making this video, Microsoft replied to Harvey Smith's comments by saying they haven't pulled away games from PlayStation. In fact, they have expanded their footprint of games shipped to the platform since the acquisition. This is in reference to all the games that were on PlayStation as of March 2021 when they acquired ZeniMax, both PS5 exclusives Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, and Microsoft also reinforced that any future ZeniMax games for other consoles will be decided on a case-by-case basis. In the end, it is what it is. Every platform is gonna have exclusives whether we like them or not. But what do you think about exclusives and the fact that Redfall was cancelled for PS5? What's your opinion in the comments? Analyst thinks Xbox exclusives are not enough. Will Redfall and Starfield be enough for Microsoft to gain market share on PlayStation this year? Well, according to an analyst firm, it's not enough. DFC Intelligence has published its forecast with Sony extending the lead over Microsoft by 1.7 times in revenue for 2023 through 2025, given the PS5 shortage has eased. That estimation includes software and online services revenue, including subscriptions and third-party revenue, but not hardware. Despite Sony's probable win, DFC knows the gap is closing between Xbox and PlayStation exclusives, with 26 Xbox games against 22 PS5-only titles that are part of the top 200 games releasing this year. That is a reverse of what happened last year, where Sony had a stellar year, and the downside of that is a thinner 2023 lineup, even with exclusives such as Final Fantasy or Spider-Man 2. Another thing DFC points out is if those Microsoft exclusives will factor into consumer purchasing decisions to go with an Xbox rather than a PS5, and they believe it's not the case. And while some games such as Starfield have been anticipated for a long time, it could hurt Xbox if the title doesn't meet expectations. Plus, there's no need for an Xbox console since you can get a PS5 and a Switch and subscribe to Game Pass on PC if you want the best of all worlds. DFC concludes by saying that software exclusives continue to play a big role and that the Activision deal could tip the scales for a competitive landscape. And while it looks like the acquisition might go through, if it doesn't, Microsoft's position in the industry will be in jeopardy. It's a good argument that I share. Currently, I have a PS5 as my main console, with a Switch for their exclusives, and subscribe to Game Pass on PC when there's something I want to play, recently Hi-Fi Rush. Sony may have a slim year, but making an analogy with the MCU, they are in the Spider-Man Far From Home after Endgame kind of situation, where they have launched most of what they promised at the PS5 reveal event. Endgame was God of War Ragnarok closing PS5 Phase 1, and now we look forward to what they have next, and we might discover it on that rumored PlayStation showcase before E3. What do you think about the future landscape of PlayStation versus Xbox? Share your opinion in the comments. The UK CMA changes their mind on the Activision merger. In an update to the Microsoft Activision acquisition that could likely be the nail in the coffin for Sony's chances of blocking the merger in the UK, the CMA has updated their investigation, saying Call of Duty will not result in a lessening of competition in the gaming market. They said that making the game exclusive to Xbox would not be in their interest, since it would be significantly loss-making, and Microsoft will instead have the incentive to continue making the game available on PlayStation platform. There's an exception to this update, and that's cloud gaming, as the regulator indicated the change of stance is only for consoles, and it's still concerned about the deal's impact on cloud gaming as they prepare for a final verdict by the end of April. This is a huge boost for Microsoft and a blow to Sony's chances, and they will likely have to agree to whatever terms end up of this, or risk not having any Activision game at all. What do you think about this update on the Activision acquisition? Let us know in the comments. Time for a round of quickfire game news. We are waiting for the next PlayStation Plus update, but in the meantime we know the title set to leave the game catalog in April. 7 games will leave on April 18, including Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 4, Wonderful 101 Remastered, The Caligula Effect Overdose, Gabushi, Too Dark, Crosshair Sigma, and Marvel Puzzle Quest Dark Reign. So if you're interested in any of those, it's your last chance to play them. After Venom voice actor Tony Todd apparently leaked the Spider-Man 2 release window, a new toy line from Marvel Legends reinforces the game release this year. The Miles Morales figure had a description that hinted something about the multiverse possibly being included in the game's story, but Hasbro has said the description was a mistake, referencing the Across the Spider-Verse movie instead of the game. The figure launches this summer. A new TMNT game is in the works, according to Paramount Global Games and Emerging Media Senior Vice President Doug Rosen, who revealed they are adapting the Last Ronin series and it is inspired by God of War. The story follows one surviving turtle who fights the Foot Clan in a far future while using the weapons of his fallen brothers. Silent Hill 2 Remake is technically ready, according to Bloober Team CEO Piotr Babieno in an interview reported by website bankier.pl. He further indicated it doesn't mean the game is finished, but they are close, and the release schedule lies with their partners, and what the promotion will look like and when the title will debut is not directly in their hands. Suicide Squad may have been poorly received after that February state of play, but according to BGC and reported by Comic Book, Rocksteady is positive on the game as a result of internal playtesting. BGC's Andy Robinson said in the latest episode of their podcast that some people he's spoken to who are working on the game have a lot of positive things to say about it, especially when compared to Gotham Knights, and the team is actually optimistic about the combat loops and the game world. Remedy Games has shared its outlook of upcoming games, confirming Alan Wake 2 is in full production and still on track for launch in 2023, according to the company's annual report. Codename Condor, which is the Control multiplayer, Control 2 and Vanguard, a free-to-play live service, are now in the proof of concept stage, with both Max Payne remakes in the concept stage. LEGO 2K Drive is now official. It's an open world game with single and multiplayer elements where players can build any vehicle they like with over 1000 LEGO pieces or use pre-made ones from LEGO City, Creator, Speed Champions and more. It launches for PS4 and PS5 this May 19. After being revealed at the Game Awards, Crash Team Rumble is set to launch this June 20 for PS4 and PS5. Developer Toys for Bob also announced that closed beta will be held from April 20 to the 24th, and you can get access to it by pre-ordering. Sega has announced an updated version of Sonic Origins called Sonic Origins Plus, launching for PS4 and PS5 this June 23rd. It will add 12 Sonic Game Gear titles, playable Knuckles and playable Amy, and all DLC content. You can buy it as a full game or an expansion if you own the current Sonic Origins. Developer CI Games revealed that The Lords of the Fallen, the sequel to the 2014 game Lords of the Fallen, will now be known as Lords of the Fallen. Yeah, they are removing Death from the title and will effectively have the same name as the game before. New info on the upcoming Star Wars FPS by Respawn has been made available through a job listing at the studio. It will be a single-player game inspired by classic titles like Dark Forces and Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, which were 90s games that resemble Doom gameplay. It will be built using Unreal Engine 5 and Respawn hopes it will be a brand new experience players will love. And those are the PlayStation stories for today. What are your thoughts on them? Share them in the comments below, let me know your feedback by liking or disliking this video, check out other videos you may enjoy while you're here, and consider subscribing for more on PlayStation. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!